Guys, it is ToPro or Adam. Welcome to my second Blackout Top 10 video, and today I want to go over 10 reasons why you might not be getting those sweet dubs here in Blackout. So it's time to go over the results of our previous Blackout sound quiz, and this sound was really easy since it was our first ever Blackout sound quiz. The correct answer was picking up the Shaw character quest line within Blackout, and pretty much all of you got this one right, so congratulations. Today's, though, is going to be a lot harder, I promise. That one's a little bit harder than our previous one, so good luck to all of you with that sound right there. And of course, you guys are new here, hit that sub button. If you are subbed, make sure you have notifications turned on. And also, if you guys have any ideas for our Blackout videos, let me know in the comments below. And besides that, let's go ahead and jump into the first of many reasons why you might not be winning here in Blackout. Coming in at the number 10 spot, one of the most important, if not the most important attachment in Blackout has to go to the suppressor. This thing is amazing and it's a must use every single game. And the reason why the suppressor is so good, first of all, when you are shooting at somebody, they might not know where those shots are coming from right away because your shots are silent. And the big thing is your shots won't alarm people around you. In Blackout, shots are very loud. With the suppressor, you can still hear it, but it's definitely a lot harder to hear. The suppressor is even more important when it comes to the end game. So for example, say you are playing a game of solos, there's 5 people left, including yourself, and if you have a non-suppressed weapon and you spray someone down, everybody who's left knows what direction you're in or where those shots are coming from. With the suppressor, you get a ton of sneaky kills while not revealing your position. Coming in at the number 9 spot, this one is all about the trauma kit, and the trauma kit is obviously one of the most important things in Blackout, and using it the right way is so important to getting a ton more wins. One thing I see a lot of players doing in Blackout is they pick up a trauma kit and they hold on to it. They don't want to waste that 200 health for an additional 50 health. They'll hold on to it, wait till they're in a situation where they have low health, or they, if they're playing duos or quads, when they down, they'll get back up and get that 200 health right away. The problem is, you might not be in a situation like that every single game. You might be in a situation where you don't have 20 health and you just die. So using that trauma kit right away, getting that 200 health is so important. Like, I can't even begin to explain how many times I've used a trauma kit and I finished a battle or I won a battle and I had 40 health left. So if I didn't use it right away, I would have died. Coming in at the number 8 spot, please don't use vehicles end game. This is a huge reason why you aren't getting wins in Blackout. This is something that is really important in solo. If you go to duos then quads, it's not as bad because you have a team of 4, but in solos, one thing I see all the time is people driving around on ATVs in the second or third to last circle, and they always end up dying. When you use a vehicle end game, what you're doing is pretty much just letting everybody know who's left alive exactly where you are. ATVs make so much noise, the new vehicle, the trucks, any kind of vehicle is a big no-no at the end game. So towards the end of the game, so second last circle, third last circle, ditch all vehicles and run, because at that point the circle will always be within running distance. Coming in at the number 7 spot, your playstyle in Blackout is really important, and one thing you never want to do is camp all game. Now, don't get me wrong, camping in Blackout is something we sometimes have to do. We might be in a really bad spot, we might have no meds, no ammo, whatever it might be. There are always times where the safe play or the good play is just to wait it out. but camping the entire game and not engaging in people is one of the worst things you can do. If you're camping the entire match and you end up in a top 10 situation, I see this pretty much every single game, no joke, there's always that one guy who is camping so hard, usually a super low level, and he's always such an easy kill because you're sitting somewhere all game and you're just not in the game. You're sitting there, 0 kills, staring at a wall, and the first gunfight you get in, you choke. So going and getting some early kills, just being engaged in the game is a much better way to improve and eventually get a ton more wins. Coming in at the number 6 spot, we have playing too aggressively. And the key to winning in Blackouts is having that nice balance between playing cautiously when you need to and playing aggressively when you have to. But when you are going all out and playing aggressively, sure, you'll probably get a lot of kills. That is definitely a great way to get better at Blackouts, but you're probably not going to win as much because in Blackout, there are people who do camp like crazy and there are good players who camp like crazy. So knowing when to push up and rush somebody and knowing when to stay back is really, really important. Coming in at the number 5 spot, one thing a lot of people like to do, and you know what, sometimes I can do this myself, is looting way too long. There are games where I might land in a really popular spot, for example, Verrucht or Asylum. I land there and I'm all by myself. I have that entire area to loot, and sometimes I can get carried away with looting way too long, spending so much of the game, looting things that I don't really need. And a great way to get loot in Blackout is by, doing your basic looting, getting weapon, getting armor, some meds, some attachments, then going out and killing people, right? Because you're gonna get a ton of loot from killing people in Blackout and spending half the game looting, and then you get into a gunfight and lose is one of the most frustrating things in Blackout. Coming in at the number 4 spot, one of the most important things when it comes to winning in Blackout, way more important than everything we've talked about so far, is making sure you're using equipment and making sure you're using all kinds of equipment. One thing I found myself doing when I first was playing Blackout is if I didn't find a concussion, I didn't find a cluster grenade, I wouldn't pick anything up, and that was a massive mistake. So many pieces of equipment in Blackout are important. Heck, even smoke grenades can be important and clutch. So if you have some extra slots, you might as well pick up that Molotov or that Wraithfire, or the acid bombs are absolutely incredible. So make sure you're first of all using equipment and you're using all kinds of equipment. Coming in at the number 3 spot, end game positioning is really damn important when it comes to getting that win. If you're in that top 5 situation, or maybe it's a 1v1 or there's 3 people left in a game of solos, where you're positioned in that final circle is really important, and knowing the terrain and knowing where the height advantage is, sitting on the very edge of the circle, behind a bush or a tree or a rock, really isn't a good play at that point of the game. One thing I find in the end game is a lot of people play cautiously. Even people you would expect to be a little bit more aggressive play super cautiously, and what you need to do is sometimes you want to be a little bit more aggressive and not go around and get kills, but be aggressive and get that better positioning. Getting that height advantage will give you a much better chance at getting those wins. Coming in at the number 2 spot, this kind of goes with the whole end game theme, and that is the trophy system. This thing has to be the most underrated piece of equipment in Blackout. Now, people do use this thing. I find in co-op, or not co-op, sorry, duos and squads, a lot of people use the trophy systems, but in solo, it's something I don't see that much, or as much as I thought I would, and the trophy system will literally save you in those 1v1s or just those end game battles, because people at that point usually have a ton of loot, a ton of equipment, and just throwing down a trophy system in the area you're holding down will save you so many times. Every time you guys play Blackout, if you're playing solo, make sure you always have a trophy system. If you're playing duos or squads, make sure at least one of you has a trophy system and he's always throwing it down. You guys are moving from area to area, because trust me guys, people love to spam equipment, and the trophy system will shut all that down. Coming in at the number 1 spot, the most underused things in Blackout has to go to the perks. The perks can be really, really good, especially if you use them at the right time and you use the right perks. They can get you some pretty easy wins because the majority of the players don't really use perks the right way. I think one thing a lot of us do is we pick up a perk and we use it right away, which makes sense to what I used to do as well. But if you think about it, why are you using, dead silence when there's nobody around? You're in the middle of nowhere. Or why using awareness or consumer or whatever you might be using? Do you really need to use it at that time? One thing I've started doing, and I've seen a ton more wins, is saving some really good perks for the end game, sacrificing some equipment to use the perks that I think are really good. And there are 3 that I love using at the end game. The first one's Dead Silence. Not making any footsteps or making any noise is really, really clutch. The next one is Awareness. All the other enemies will make more noise, so you have, no noise, and then everyone else makes no noise. That's an amazing combo. And the last one that I love to use is Consumer. Consumer is so clutch at endgame. It allows you to kind of use everything faster. So the big things for me, using meds faster and repairing armor faster. When someone damages you and you're in that 1v1 battle, being able to use a med kit really quick or a trauma kit really fast or repairing your armor quickly can really be the difference between life and death. Anyway guys, those were 10 reasons you might not be winning here in Blackout, and the important thing to take away from this video is make sure you're using what's in the game. It's really tempting because it is Call of Duty to just grab a gun and run around, but there are a lot of things in Blackout that a lot of people don't use that can help you get so many more wins. Besides that, guys, the video, drop a like, subscribe for a ton of Blackout content, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.